Today, I'm going to answer the three questions I get asked all the time in my travel agency business. The first is, where can I find the best deals? The second is, can I transfer my cruise reservation to you that I've already booked? And the third is, when is the best time to book? So let's cover that first one right away. 75% of our business is cruises, and the best time to book your next cruise is when you're already on a cruise. So go into the Cruise Next office, talk to them. There are two things you can do. You can book your next cruise right away in there if you know what you want. Or the second option is to get a future cruise credit where you can take some time. They'll give you a set amount of time where you have to make a decision and book that towards your next cruise. If you have booked a cruise with me and you're on that cruise, and they will send me the confirmation when you book the cruise. So the reservation will still be linked to me. If you're on a cruise and you haven't linked your reservation to me, or I didn't book that particular cruise, but you want us to service that reservation, just let them know that we're going to service the reservation and they will attach me to it when you book that cruise. All right. The second best way to get cruise offers and the best deals on cruises is on my website. Part of the benefit of being with cruise planners and having that reputation and that franchise backed behind us is that they allow us to take out blocks of cabins on sailings just as they become available. So I keep watch. I kind of have learned over time the popular itineraries, the popular times to cruise, those itineraries that don't last, all year long, like Alaska. That's only sailing a few months of the year. Same with the Mediterranean. Some of the popular itineraries, like the Panama Canal, that's few and far between, or just unique itineraries that I happen to come across. And I take out blocks of cabins and I hold them at the price on the day that I took them out. And I can sell those then to my clients. What happens is over time, the price and the availability of the cabins, of course, continue. The price goes up and the availability goes down. But I still have my block of cabins, and I've run into situations where the whole sailing is already sold out to the general public, but I still have a few cabins left because I held them at the very beginning. And I can only hold them for a certain period of time, a couple of months before the sailing. The cruise line will take those cabins back from me if they haven't sold out, which does happen on occasion. But for the most part, I have a really great selection at a lower than prevailing rate. So that is where you want to go. And I'm going to show you right now. Let me share my screen and take you to my website. Okay, so my website is letscruisetravel.com. There's no apostrophe and it's all one word. You can see right here at the top. And where you want to go is groups and events. And I continue to add to these. In fact, I have 3 more for 2028 that I'm going to be adding within the next couple of days here. So you can see coming up, I have these November sailings for Thanksgiving. I always get asked about cruising over Thanksgiving. So I do have 3 sailings for Thanksgiving this year. Please keep in mind that our group rates are for double occupancy only. So it's 2 people. I know that doesn't really work for families if there's 4 of you, unless you want to do 2 cabins, which I recommend because 4 in a cabin gets very, very crowded quickly. So just keep that in mind. So we have several Caribbean sailings coming up, and then later in 2027, we have some Alaska sailings that I've held, and I definitely want to point out this one, September 10th of 2027. I have a Sail Away With Me cruise on the European coast. I'm very excited about it. We have a great group of people going so far, and I do have a handful of cabins left. I would love to have you. It would be, if you haven't done a Mediterranean sailing, this is your time to do so. And then we have, like I mentioned, Panama Canal is a really unique sailing that's coming up in the beginning of 2028. And then I'm continuing to add 2028 sailings. So always check here first. If you click on the sailing, I will tell you a little bit about it. Anything on Celebrity that I book in a group, that price, it's going to include your drink package. It's a classic drink package, and it will include the gratuities on that drink package as well. So you don't have to worry about that. It's an all-inclusive price. It also includes your Wi-Fi package. So it's 1 device, basic Wi-Fi, 1 device per person. You do have the opportunity to upgrade if you're like, oh, I really like the premium drink package and the premium Wi-Fi. You can always upgrade in the Celebrity app on your own. But just starting out, you're coming in all-inclusive. The only thing that would be above and beyond this price would be mandatory gratuities for the staff, which is, depending on the sailing, around $18 to $19 per day per passenger. And if you wanted to do any specialty dining or excursions, any optional amenities would be above and beyond. But overall, with your drinks included, Wi-Fi included, taxes and fees, you're out the door, you're sailing, obviously. It's really great offer, really great deal, as people ask me about. So, and then if you click about the cruise information here, it's going to tell you the cabins I have held, the cabin classes. I typically hold balconies. Once in a while, I'll hold a couple ocean view and a couple interior, but most people ask me for balconies, so that is what I tend to do. And then it'll tell you the itinerary. As you can see, we're going to be starting out in Barcelona, make our way down the coast of Italy to Sicily, and then on to Greece. Really amazing. I saw this itinerary and it was so special. I knew I had to do a come sail away with me on this. So I'm very, very excited. I would love for any of you to join me. Reach out and let me know if you are interested. I would love to have you along. We're going to have such a great time. And then it'll list the ports of call so you can see everywhere that you'll be sailing to and top attractions. And then we ask that you register. We're not asking for any payment right here. What happens when you register, you'll choose the cabin category that you would like and the number of guests, which would be 2, and then save and continue. And then I'll get a notification and then I'll give you a call. We'll talk about where you want to be on the ship and then just the other details and answer any questions that you have. So this is just purely a registration. You're not putting any money out here. So that is the long answer to where are my best deals. The second question I get asked, sometimes people book sailings, they're online over the weekend, they can't get a hold of me or whatever the case. You book a sailing but you want us to service that sailing. We can certainly do that for you. If the booking has been made within the last 30 days, then we can transfer the reservation over to us and you'll be all set and we'll be happy to service that for you. So keep that in mind. For sailings that you may have booked on your own, but you really want some help on the servicing side, we are here to do that for you. And then the last question I get all the time is, when is the best time to book? For cruises, I kind of covered that already with when I take my groups out. I kind of take those out right away as the sailings become available, because I feel like that's the best time you're going to get the best pricing and the most availability. So the sooner the better on cruising. I say at least 6 months out. They've just been filling up so quickly that it's the sooner the better. And it's usually just a small deposit, depending on, for instance, the European coast sailing I'm taking people on, that is $900 deposit, but sometimes it's $500, sometimes it's $200. It really just depends on the cruise line and their offer. So it's a small deposit, and then you have a really long time before you have to pay that final payment, usually about 90 days before sailing. Again, depending on the cruise line, Viking tends to be a lot sooner, but that's an anomaly. So keep that in mind for cruising. Now, we also do land travel. If you're traveling domestic, I would book that within 3 to 6 months before you want to travel. If you are booking international, I would do at least 6 months, 6 to 12 months prior. Flights become available 333 days before the flight goes, so a little less than a year. So if you start looking at that 12-month period, you have some time to put a flight monitor on Google Flights and keep an eye on pricing. I will say what I'm hearing in the industry is that flights are going to just continue to go up through the end of the year. So if you have something in mind, try to book it now. Book that flight now. It's always kind of a gamble, right? So it is kind of like a stock market. When should I book my flight? And I always tell people, book your flight when you find the price that you feel comfortable with and you've watched it a little bit. And that's something I can certainly help you with. We do 2 different types of land travel. We do guided land travels, where it's a tour package that's already created. We work with a vendor and help you get that tour package that's already set. That's when you're touring with 25 to 40 people. We also do curated land travel. Now, if you're booking a curated land travel package with me and you book at least 3 nights at a hotel, I can also get unpublished airfare if you book the flight with us as well in that package. So that is one benefit that you would have access to. If you want to book with miles, you cannot book that with a travel agent. You have to book miles directly with the airline. So also something to keep in mind. If you're flying, try to fly on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, kind of the unusual days to fly. You're going to get the lower rates on those days. It really doesn't matter the day you book the flight. Just kind of keep an eye on the flight and then book when you're comfortable. But if you can fly midweek, that can usually help you out. So those are my 3 questions and my 3 answers. If you have any further questions, please drop it below.